Next news. Breaking news from the White House. Tonight, one of the most notorious figures in the anti-Trump deep state is back in legal trouble. Multiple reports confirm that James Comey has been indicted for a second time by President Trump's Department of Justice, and this time the case appears to be tied to that infamous 8647 shell post that many Americans saw for exactly what it looked like, a disgusting message aimed at the 47th President of the United States. Now, CNN is scrambling for answers. Fox is zeroing in on the post. And the question now is no longer whether scrutiny is coming. The question is, has Comey finally run out of road? See, this matters because it's bigger than a disgraced former FBI director. If a former top lawman can float a message that appears to target President Donald J. Trump and just brush it off as beach art, what message does that send to the rest of the country? It tells ordinary Americans that there's one set of rules for the powerful and another for everyone else. That poison destroys trust in law enforcement, in federal agencies, and the basic promise that justice is blind. Now, politically, this is huge because Comey was not just another bureaucrat. He became a symbol of the weaponized establishment that hounded Trump, misled the public, and helped drag the country through years of Russia hoaxes, leaks, and elite protection rackets. Now, with Republicans in control of Washington and the Trump administration restoring law and order, accountability is no longer a slogan. It's becoming policy. And if the reports pan out, well, this second indictment says something simple and powerful. Titles do not grant immunity, and deep state arrogance does not erase the consequences. And while we're talking about accountability and America First action, there is another major Trump-era development you need to know about that's happening right now. It's really under the radar, but it's breaking news from the White House. They just announced over $30 billion to secure America's critical mineral supply chains and named a specific Alaskan project as a key strategic asset for U.S. mineral independence. I've personally been to the Vizsla copper drilling site in Canada myself. I've held the core samples. And what's happening right now in Alaska, though, is bigger than most people realize. President Trump just unveiled Project Vault, a $12 billion strategic mineral reserve designed to stockpile essential resources and keep America strong, secure, and independent from foreign supply shocks. That puts companies tied to copper and strategic resources in the spotlight, including Vizsla Copper, traded in the United States under VCUFF and in Canada as VCU.V. If you want the full breakdown on why this matters, check the exclusive briefing. It's only for Next News viewers. It's linked below, and see the America First resource story developing in real time. We thank them for the support of our work. Now let's get back to the Comey bombshell, because the details that are getting out tonight make this even more explosive. And now here's the twist, though. The corporate media can't hide. This may not just be about a controversial post. Legal analysts are pointing to something else that could be far more dangerous for Comey personally. If investigators believe he lied about whether he created the 8647 shell display or lied about what he knew, then his motives, they move into false statements territory. And remember, his earlier case was tossed out on a technical authority issue, not because he was cleared on the facts. That means that the Trump DOJ may be coming back stronger, cleaner, and better prepared. Here is the news as it was breaking today. The DOJ has just indicted the disgraced former FBI Director James Comey. We also have Blanche just giving a press conference, as well as the U.S. Attorney Boyle. We're going to get to that. And we've even got Comey's response. He's now responding to all of these charges. But first, let's go to this.
And the Department of Justice has indicted former FBI Director James Comey for a second time. Kristen Holmes is live at the White House with more. Kristen, we should let our viewers know for context, he was previously indicted in September of last year on federal charges of making false statements and obstruction of justice related to his testimony. Those charges were later dropped, in part because the judge ruled that the interim U.S. attorney who brought them lacked authority to do so. But now we're learning that the administration has now sought charges against Comey again.
Good.
That's right, and that he was indicted a second time by the Justice Department. We do not know what these charges are. Just when it comes to what you were referring to, one of the things that we had heard from inside the White House, inside the Trump Justice Department, had been this idea that even though the judge said that he was throwing out the charges, that they could bring additional charges later because of the fact that it was all about that interim attorney, Lindsay Halligan. There was a belief inside of the Trump administration and inside the White House that they would would be bringing charges again. And I can tell you from talking to people who are close to President Trump, this was somewhat of a priority for him. He wanted charges brought against James Comey. Obviously, the two of them have had an acrimonious relationship. He was the FBI director under President Trump.
He was a traitor under Trump. CNN confirms Comey back in the crosshairs. Now Comey tries to spin himself as the victim. Here's this is some reaction. I'm not sure if this might be from the original indictment, but this is great. Eric Doherty writes, Trump's DOJ is surging right now. Oh my God, they are on fire today.
My family and I have known for years that there are costs to standing up to Donald Trump. But we couldn't imagine ourselves living any other way. We will not live on our knees.
No, but well, I'm not going to go there. Yes, that was his previous reaction to the first indictment. Tim Pool posting this: James Comey indicted again. What we know so far about the DOJ's new case against the former FBI director. U.S. Department of Justice indicted former FBI Director Comey again. Details on the new charges have not been made public. Well, we do have them now. This post was made earlier today. They were citing the New York Post. The key context that Pool's reporting is that the prior case centered on Comey's 2020 Senate testimony. Comey denied authorizing leaks tied to FBI investigators. The case was later dismissed over the prosecutor's appointment. So basically a technicality. Comey also, this is all over the news today. This is the Fox hit on it. Indicted by a grand jury for his 8647 post.
Has indicted former FBI Director James Comey for a second time. Justice correspondent David Spunt's got the story. He's here in Washington. Hey, David, they're going to go at it again.
John, they're going at it again, not even a year after they went at it after the first time. We're told this via several law enforcement sources. We're told this is related to an Instagram post from the former FBI director last year. When he posted on the beach, you may remember there was a formation of shells that said 8647 that were in that pairing of 8647, and he said something along the lines of, isn't this a curious formation that I just found while walking on the beach? Well, critics to that post immediately pointed out that 86, at least in the restaurant world, means to get rid of or to kill something from a menu, 47 meaning the 47th president of the United States. So Comey did speak with the Secret Service, did speak with federal investigators. At the time he was interviewed last spring or early last summer, shortly after that happened. No charges were ever filed, but now it appears that he has been indicted today. We're working to learn more about...
And we will get you those details in just a moment. Here's the post, 8647. Who could ever forget the seashell arrangement, right? Here's President Trump reacting to the initial post when it was
exactly
made.
What that meant. A child knows what that meant. If you're the FBI director and you don't know what that meant assassination. And it says it loud and clear. Now, he wasn't very competent, but he was competent enough to know what that meant. And he did it for a reason, and he was hit so hard. Because people like me, and they like what's happening with our country. Our country has become respected again, and all this. And he's calling for the assassination of the president.
Obviously, he apologized and said he did.
Think about that post in the context of what happened over the weekend, right? It's post like what James Comey did here, a former FBI director claiming to stumble upon some seashells on the beach in the form of 8647. It only emboldens people to act against the president, like we saw at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Jonathan Turley laying it out, the DOJ circling back on Comey over the infamous Instagram post. Turley notes that the photo alone is a weak case, but if Comey lied to investigators about creating it, that's a serious false statement charge. The previous indictment was dismissed on a technicality.
When Comey initially posted that Instagram photo, his caption insinuated that he did not create this shell art formation in the sand. I'm curious, if it matters whether, he got a lot of criticism at the time. Everyone was saying, oh, we all know that you actually put that together and then photographed it. Does any of that matter in a legal sense in this case, whether Comey is the originator of that message or whether he just walked by, as he claims to have done, and photographed it?
Well, I have to say, I must be in a parallel universe to be talking about the shell artwork of James Comey. The fact is that it is relevant only to the extent that he might have denied a fact that proved his denial proved to be false to federal officials.
Sorry to stop you, but you mean like if there was a witness or something on the beach who saw him? Is that what you're kind of alluding to?
Well, if he was questioned and gave false information to federal investigators, that can be the basis of a charge. I think that just showing the picture is going to be a weak case in terms of a threat. What's interesting is that the first indictment that was dismissed involved false statements under 18 U.S.C. 1001. And that's the most used provision in terms of false statement prosecutions by the Department of Justice. What's interesting about that dismissal is that it was based on the fact that Lindsay Halligan, who was the acting U.S. attorney, was viewed as not properly in her position.
And now she's no longer there, but the case proceeds. Let's see, we've got, there's so much happening in this one. Here we have the CNN reporter, Caitlin Pollins, became very nervous after learning that the former FBI Director Comey had been indicted for a second time.
A big question right now on what would these charges be? What had happened previously with Comey in the Eastern District of Virginia, it wasn't just that he was charged for making a false statement and obstructing a congressional proceeding. That was about testimony he gave back in 2020, and he was indicted right under the wire at the 5-year mark when the window of time was about to expire for him to be indicted there. In that case, after that case was dismissed, because, as you noted, the U.S. attorney down there didn't have the authority to bring it, that's what the judges found, the evidence got locked down. And the belief of many who had watched this case very closely was that the Justice Department was out of time to charge Comey again for that level of perjury related to that proceeding, and also that they wouldn't have the evidence to just have anything in court for a case. So what is this? Is the big question right now. Where is it? Is it back in the Eastern District of Virginia, or is there something else?
Oh my goodness, she's like so animated. Here we have a senator calling out Comey, dropping truth on Comey's second indictment. He abused his power.
On Saturday night at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, I don't know if you were actually in attendance or not, but what do you think of this second indictment against the former FBI director?
Well, James Comey deserves to be indicted for a lot of reasons. He totally abused his power. The way that he used that power against President Trump had drastic and negative effects on this country. Everyone knows what that post meant, 8647. Everybody knows what that means. He knew what that meant as well, and he should be held accountable for it. I'll defer to the justice system.
And he is going to be held accountable for it. I saw this post. Shrem Horn, if they indict Peter Strzok, I'm going to eat an entire birthday cake. The reaction tells you the base wants this clean up to go a lot deeper than Comey. And it looks like we have Comey made the threat from the Eastern District of North Carolina, not Virginia, a totally different ball game. Let's just get down to, there's so much. Arrest warrant has now been issued for the former FBI Director James Comey. Multiple federal grand jury charges in North Carolina related to the Instagram image he posted last summer, allegedly threatening the president. U.S. Marshals will execute the arrest. Comey publicly claimed at the time he did not create the threatening image, but merely stumbled upon it while walking on the beach. It's not clear what he told federal agents who interviewed him about it. So there has been an arrest warrant issued. Sorry it took me 14 minutes to get to the point on that, but that's a big deal. Now he is responding, and we're going to get to the official DOJ response. This is This just came out a few minutes ago. Comey made clear he has zero remorse.
Well, they're back. This time about a picture of seashells on a North Carolina beach a year ago. And this won't be the end of it. But nothing has changed with me. I'm still innocent. I'm still not afraid. And I still believe in the independent federal judiciary. So let's go. But it's really important that all of us remember this is not who we are as a country. This is not how the Department of Justice is supposed to be. And the good news is we get closer every day to restoring those values. Keep the faith.
Look at his face, man. He doesn't look good.
Well, they're back.
I mean, look at his eyes. He looks like he's probably been crying in a closet, huddled down with his wife or something. Like, he does not look good. Does not look good at all. Very different from the first time he came out and, I'm going to defy you. Bring it on. Yep. Trump is bringing it on. Okay. Now here is U.S. Attorney Boyle, who's leading the charge, according to Nick Sortor. He says he sounds hell-bent on securing a conviction. He made clear Comey will receive no special treatment. Let's go.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Earlier today, a grand jury in the Eastern District of North Carolina returned a true bill indicting Mr. James Comey with committing 2 felonies. Count 1, he knowingly and willfully made a threat to kill and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States in violation of 18 U.S.C. 871A. Count 2, he knowingly and willfully transmitted in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill President Trump in violation of 18 U.S.C. 875C. Mr. Comey will be given every form of due process all citizens are entitled to receive, to include a trial by a jury of his peers. In the Eastern District of North Carolina, it doesn't matter who you are. We take all threat cases seriously and prosecute anyone who violates federal law, regardless of title or status. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, baby. Let's frickin' go. Former FBI Director James Comey has been indicted. Here is the acting Attorney General, Todd Blanche.
A grand jury sitting in the Eastern District of North Carolina returned an indictment against James Comey on 2 counts. The first count is that on or about May 15th of last year, he knowingly and willfully making a threat to take the life of and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States. Count 2, same day, May 15th, 2025, that the defendant, James Comey, knowingly and willfully transmitting in interstate commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill the President of the United States. Both of these counts carry a maximum term of imprisonment of 10 years. So I think it's fair to say that threatening the life of anybody is dangerous and potentially a crime. Threatening the life of the President of the United States will never be tolerated by the Department of Justice.
Game over, Comey. Game over for you.
Well, they're back.
Yep, they
This
are
time
back.
about a picture of seashells on a North Carolina beach a year ago.
Yep, we all know. We remember. I bet you regret that post now, don't you? So this is the aha moment. The establishment spent years treating Trump as the target and men like Comey as untouchable guardians of democracy. But now the roles have flipped. The grand jury has acted, North Carolina, the venue, and yes, the arrest warrant has been issued for the U.S. Marshals to execute. That means this is no longer just media chatter. This is the legal system that's moving, and this is why Democrats and their media allies sound so nervous. Because if Comey can be dragged into court over a message aimed at President Trump and over what he told investigators, then the protective shield around the old deep state network is cracking. Accountability is no longer theoretical. It is arriving case by case. Now here's the bottom line. Comey now facing a second indictment. The focus, the 8647 Post, and the Trump administration DOJ sending the message the American people have wanted to hear for years. No more sacred cows, no more elite loopholes, no more protection for people who use federal power against this country and against President Trump. If you believe that Comey should face the full weight of the law, if the allegations are proven, I want to hear from you. Yes or no? Should every official tied to anti-Trump abuse now be investigated? Drop your answer in the comments right now and share this report everywhere. Subscribe if you're done trusting the corporate press, and text raw feed to 844-840-4963 to bypass the algorithm suppression of our work and get a direct message from me straight to your phone. Also, check out the Next News merch shelf below this video. The age of accountability is here. The America First Patriots are only getting started.
The system controls information. Information control is power. They don't want you to see this. The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now.